The wait is over. 98.5 Speed FM.
Catch us if you can.
Stay here with you. You are a rainbow, so I am lucky. I am lucky. You are my favorite song. I am lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky. Seasons change, but you're the same. Your love is constant. You've never lost it. Your voice is calling out my name. It makes me miss you, even when I'm with you. Oh, nobody wants to go it alone, and I just wanna stay here with you. So I am lucky. I am lucky. You are my favorite song. I am lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky. I am
A speedy welcome to the show for everyone. This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And I'm your host today on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and the Speed Lane is where we talk about our lives, our communities, our morals, and even things that affect us all as a society. Now, today we are talking about leadership. Leadership isn't just about holding a big title or even being in charge of a company or just anything. It's about guiding others, making decisions, solving problems, and helping a group or community move forward. Now, think about it. Leadership shows up in small ways too. It could be someone organizing a neighborhood meeting, guiding a team at work, helping a school project run smoothly, or even taking charge in a family situation. Now, the good thing is good leadership matters because when leaders are fair, responsible, and capable, everyone benefits. But when leadership is poor or absent, it affects everyone. Work suffers, communities stall, even families feel the impact. So leadership is truly at the heart of progress and harmony, which is why we are talking about leadership today. So you also can call in to be part of this conversation. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Call in and let us hear from you. Today we are talking about leadership. So who is a good leader? What qualities would you say actually makes a good leader? Because we're in a world today where, well, people who might be in leadership positions, not just the big ones. I mean, even in communities, even it could just be a meeting at all. Some people who are in leadership may not be handling it well, and why people are quick to actually criticize some certain forms of leadership. What are we doing by ourselves to also make sure that, okay, if we find ourselves in different positions tomorrow, or if we come up as a different generation taking up with leadership, what are we going to do different to actually make sure that people are not suffering the consequences of bad leadership? So who is a good leader? What makes someone a good leader? What would you call good leadership? What are those qualities that you would say makes a good leader? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Call in and let us hear from you. Let us hear those important things that you think actually makes a good leader, because leadership is important. And in one or two ways, many people have actually suffered, the consequences of bad leadership, right? So let us actually come to it. Let us actually talk about it and then educate ourselves about good leadership, because one might say, okay, people who are leaders are doing this, people who are leaders are doing that. But what happens when you find yourself in that position? Are you just going to do exactly as they did, or would you try to make things better? So call in and let us hear from you. Who is a good leader? What are those qualities that you would say actually makes a good leader? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. What makes a good leader? Now, if we talk about leadership, and we talk about the importance of good leadership as well, because it promotes fairness in society, right? Because leadership, as we say, affects all areas, especially people who are under that leadership. That is, if it's not good and if it's not a fair kind of situation, if the leaders are not good, then it becomes a situation where nothing is fair, or maybe even injustice, and maybe even lack of security, and no development at all. And we talk about even peace. And this starts from us, from the lower side, because you find yourself even maybe in primary school, even maybe in secondary school, and then you take up a leadership position, maybe even as a class prefect, or even as a head girl, a head boy. And then at that point, you're thinking about it, okay, well, this is just a small one. Or even when it comes to like community meetings, and we say, okay, this is the head of the community, and this is just a small leadership, we should leave it and then go and tackle the other leadership, positions that actually affect us all as a country. But then what happens when you move from that little title, from community leadership, and then you move to higher ups? Are you going to exactly do, what you criticize others for doing, or would you bring a change? So let us hear today, what are those things that you think are missing, in leadership, or what would actually not be there to actually make it bad leadership? So call in and let us hear from you. Who is a good leader to you? We look around, apply it to our lives, even in a family. I mean, there is a leader when it comes to making decisions, who listens to other people and then comes up with a decision. Even in an area, we know, okay, this is the chief of this area, this is the person who looks after all the affairs of this area, and then that person becomes a leader. But what happens when it's a bad leadership? The entire area suffers, right? So call in and let us hear from you this morning on the speed lane. Who is a good leader to you? What qualities would you say makes a good leader? It could be honesty, it could be courage, it could be patience, anything at all that you think maybe often misses that actually leads to bad leadership. Call in and let us hear from you. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. We are talking about a leadership today on the speed lane, and I'm your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior. So call in and let us hear from you today. Tell us who you would say, okay, this is a good leader. This is an example of what makes a good leader. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Elijah and I'm calling from Teresa.
Welcome to the show, Elijah.
Thank you. For me, a good leader is someone who is loyal, respectful, kind, and good-hearted.
Good-hearted, okay.
Yeah. So,
All right.
calling.
Hello. Okay, we just heard from Elijah, and unfortunately, we didn't get, or I think he had more to say. And he was saying that to him, a good leader is someone who is loyal, who is kind hearted, who is respectful. And yes, if someone is loyal, then the person knows that, okay, everyone that is under me, I'm supposed to be loyal to them. I don't betray them simply because, okay, something has come up, maybe because someone is offering me money. And if you're not kind hearted, then you might not actually put the needs of people first. So, yes, thank you so much, Elijah, for calling in to be part of the show. And if you have just joined us, this is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And this morning we are talking about leadership. So, who is a good leader to you? What are those qualities that you would say actually makes a good leader? And when we talk about leadership, it's anywhere. I mean, even in communities, local communities, and small things, even in school, in workplaces, leadership is everywhere. And when there is a bad leader, or when leadership is poor, then the people under that are kind of under that leadership actually suffers. So let us educate ourselves, let us inform ourselves, because we believe that, okay, that is something that is most important to actually learn about, to actually know about, before, okay, one day we find ourselves in different positions. While you even think that, okay, I may not have, maybe back then you thought you might not be able to reach that point, but then you found yourself in that position. Would you do exactly the same thing that you criticize other leaders for doing? Or what is that new thing that you think you would include, what you would do differently, the kind of ethics that you would carry, that you believe it's, something that has to do with good leadership. So call in and let us hear from you. Who is a good leader? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. This morning on the Speed Lane, we are talking about leadership. So call in and let us hear from you. Who is a good leader? What are those qualities that you would say actually makes a good leader? And I was talking about how important it is for leadership to be good, whether in local areas, whether in churches, whether in communities, everywhere, even when it comes to families, because we see things like, okay, this is a family meeting and there is a leader there. And if that leader is not fair, or if that leader is not maybe pushing for development, the entire family suffers, right? Because they are all under that leadership. So the entire family actually suffers. Or even if it's something, even as a school, well, all those who are under that leadership. Hello? Okay, it's really quiet over there. Maybe you would have to call us back again. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. And if you have just joined in, this is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And we're talking about leadership. Who is a good leader to you? What would you qualify as a good leader? What are those things that you think are maybe important, for someone to become a good leader? Because leadership is important. Leadership is everywhere. Leadership is even when it comes to, even in neighborhoods, we have, okay, this is the person, this is the caretaker, this is the this. But if that person is maybe a bad leader, then everyone suffers. Everyone under there, actually suffers. So it's time enough for us to take it upon ourselves to educate ourselves, to inform ourselves, because if we find ourselves in those positions that we criticize, what are we going to do? What are those things that we must not forget when we talk about leadership? So call in and let us hear from you. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Call in and let us hear from you today. We are talking about leadership. Who is a good leader to you? Call in and let us hear from you. And also, when we talk about development, hello? Yes, please move away from your radio set or turn down the volume.
I'm be aware now.
Okay, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Msutewasi Boradele from Boko local government.
Welcome to the show, Msutewasi.
I thank you very seriously. Leadership is a way to be with people in order. Asami,
Oh, okay. Tewa say you can still call us back and let us hear from you. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. This morning on the speed lane, we are talking about leadership. So, who is a good leader to you? What are those things that you know that are supposed to be involved, that one must have, or people must have to actually make that leadership, a good one, where the people who are under that leadership are not actually suffering? Because if you look around, in most areas, and like I said, when we talk about this leadership, it's in every area. It's not just the higher ups, it's not just the lower down, it's everywhere. So when we talk about this leadership, it starts from somewhere. Someone is maybe a class prefect before they become a head girl or a head boy, and maybe they become a caretaker or an area, leader, a community leader, this and that. And it gets to a point where a large number of people actually gets affected if that leadership is poor. And if it's good, a large number of people actually benefit as well, which is why we have to inform ourselves what actually makes a good leader, or who is a good leader to you. So call in and let us hear from you. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? Call in and let us hear from you today on the speed lane. And also, when we talk about peace, there are some situations where some people don't even care. If everybody, let's take for example, in a community, maybe a community leader makes a decision and doesn't care, if this is something that is promoting peace, or if this is something that is actually going to lead to maybe everyone fighting with each other, and then people not trusting themselves, people arguing. Some persons don't actually care, this is how it's going to affect this community. And then there is something also, and that is selfishness, and making decisions like that and not caring, if it's going to promote peace or if it's going to stir up maybe a war against each other, is something that we refer to as selfishness, because probably that leader is only looking at what he or she benefits from the situation, and not the good interest of the people at all. So let us hear from you this morning on the speed lane, what you consider a good leader. Who is a good leader? What are those qualities that you look at and you say, this is a good leader? Because we never know, the things we complain about, and we say, this is going this way, this is bad leadership. What about when we find ourselves in those positions? What are we going to do different? What are we going to carry along? What are we going to take and make sure that, it's actually good leadership? Call in and let us hear from you. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? Keep calling in and let us hear from you. Let us keep hearing your opinions. Let us keep hearing your takes, and let us come to maybe even close to a conclusion on what we actually consider a good leader. Because if we have those in mind, then everyone is sure that if I find myself in a particular situation, in a certain situation, this is how I react, this is what I do, this is how I lead, this is how I do this to ensure that everyone, no one is actually suffering consequences, and they are all under in good hands. And also, when we talk about importance of good leadership, then that bad leadership also has something that it actually does to people. Because if they say something is bad, then it's definitely bad. I'm sure everyone knows what bad means, and then how it actually affects us. You talk about creating toxic environments, even corruption, reduce productivity. Because if people are under a bad leader or bad leadership, then there is high chance that that place is not getting productive anymore. People don't want to do anything. People even give up. This community leader is going to do whatever he wants anyway. He's going to do this. So what is the need for me to even try to become something, to even do better, when I know that maybe I'm not even getting what I deserve? for the work I am doing, or nobody is even applauding what I am doing. Instead, they try to turn down on people who are doing good and then uplift the people who are doing bad. Then what need do I have to actually do something that is good, or to actually try to make things right, or to actually perform properly? And when we talk about this leadership, even in work organizations, okay, if you're led by someone who is not a good leader, then it's possible that, okay, there are setbacks in work, and it's actually falling. Even performance of employees will actually fall down, which is why it's important to actually have good leadership. So what makes a good leader? Who is a good leader to you? Call in and share with us those qualities that you would say makes a good leader. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? What are those qualities that you would say makes a good leader? Because today we are talking about leadership on the speed lane. Hello? Hello? Okay, it's really quiet over there, but not to worry, you can try to call us back again. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? Call in and let us hear from you what you consider good leadership. Those things that you feel like people should not actually forget when it comes to leadership, because it has become time for us to remind ourselves of how this leadership works, what actually makes a good leader, so we actually have it in mind. And when we find ourselves in some of those positions, because you hear people actually complain, this is going bad, maybe their community leader in this place is not doing well, he is always like this, but then the same people actually climb to those positions and then still do what the former person was doing, or still lead that place even badly. So what are those things that you feel like people must not forget? And when we talk about good leadership, it could be honesty, even integrity, decisiveness, which are some of the important things that must not be left out when we talk about good leadership. Even empathy, because it takes someone who is actually able to feel the pain of others to know that this decision I am taking, well, someone else might suffer from it, or these people might suffer from it, and it's not just about my families. And also, I spoke earlier about being selfless. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Agon Benjamin. I'm from North Bank.
Welcome to the show, Benjamin.
This leadership is critical. Some people, leadership, from my own understanding, must be trained or you become a leader. So many people are not trained. So when they get to that position, don't know how to handle the people that are under them. And as for me, I learned the work. So the work I learned, I passed through many things, like hungry and other things. So I did say to myself that when it comes to me, when I become a guy on my own, I will not allow my people or my boys to be hungry like that.
Okay, because you know what hunger means.
Yes. So that is how a leader should be. So some people still, when some people they do say that even me I passed through this, so this is what I passed through. So you too must be like, or it is not a new thing. Means to pass through it, but a leadership is a leader is someone that you pass through something, and then when you become a leader, then you know how to amend, you know how to put your own things in order so that everything will be smooth. So a leader is not just something you wake up and then decide to become a leader.
Okay.
You must be trained. You must know who you are. You must be patient. You must be selfless.
Selfless, yes.
Yes, selfless. Because you you have to be good. You have to be patient with everybody. That is, for my own understanding, that is
A
what
good
is
leader.
a leader should be.
All right. Thank you so much, Benjamin, for calling in to be part of the show this morning. And if you have just joined us, this is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And I'm your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and we are talking about leadership today on the Speed Lane. So who is a good leader? What qualities would you say makes a good leader? What qualifies a good leader to you? Call in and let us hear from you this morning. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. What makes a good leader? Who is a good leader to you? And we heard from Benjamin earlier, and he says a leader must be trained. And he gave an example with himself, okay, that he was actually learning a skill, and then he knew that, okay, this is what he passed through. Maybe he was hungry there, and he knows how it feels like to be hungry. Therefore, he is avoiding. He knows that, okay, when I become an oga, in his words, then this is something that I should not allow someone else actually go through. Now, why you might be thinking, okay, not everyone is actually maybe hungry, because some people are born with maybe silver spoons before even they actually attain that leadership. Then they have witnessed, okay, and maybe previous leaderships, this is how it was, this is how poor it was, this is how people suffered under it. And that is something that you have already witnessed. Witnessing it alone is like you going through it. So what happens when you get to that position? What happens when you climb to that class prefect that somebody was? When you climb to that community leader that somebody was? Do you do the same? Because, okay, well, I have witnessed this even under the previous leadership. Well, people were still hungry. People were still fighting themselves. And, it is no new thing. Then we should just continue. Now, that is bad for society. So what do you think makes a good leader? Call in and let us hear from you this morning on the Speed Lane. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader? What are those qualities that you would say actually makes a good leader? Call in and let us hear from you. And I was talking about how bad leadership actually affects us all. Now, some people might say, well, I have everything that I want, or I am not suffering the consequences. But is it okay, because you're not suffering something, then to allow, okay, the society at large, or everyone that is under that leadership to actually suffer? It's a bad name on all of us. If they say, okay, this community is led by this person, and then it's a bad one because of the leadership, everything has gone bad, then you come from that community, and simply because maybe you're not you're actually directly affected. If it has not come to your door today, then know that it can actually come to your door, the next day. Which is why we must take on this responsibility, ourselves, and then inform ourselves, educate ourselves. Because if it comes to you, if you have the opportunity to become one, and then you had to lead a certain kind of people, what would you do? What must you carry along to make sure that you're doing the right thing, to make sure that the people that you are leading are under the right kind of leadership? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Call in and let us hear from you this morning on the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and this morning we are talking about leadership. So call in and let us hear from you what you would say actually makes a good leader, so that we never forget, so that we have it at the back of our minds. Hello. All right, you can still call us back and let us hear what you think, what you know, who is a good leader, or what would you say qualifies as a good leader, so that, we can all get informed and prepared. Actually prepared, because, things change, right? In as much as you might feel like this is happening, then one person does not stay in leadership for eternity. It changes, and then other people come up. But how prepared are we to actually come up when it's time to take control, when it's time for a page to turn, when it's time for something else to happen, maybe new people to come on, then how prepared are we to actually take control of the situation, to actually do different from the things that we criticize? Because it's funny, somehow how people maybe go through something, just like our caller Benjamin mentioned, that some people go through stuff, and when they get to that position, instead of avoiding, well, this community was not safe in that person's hands, then now that I am here, I should ensure that it's like this. Instead, they relax and say, well, it's not the first time that this kind of thing will happen. So, well, I can still relax and not to do anything, or just allow it to happen, because I will not be the first to ensure that this community starts. I will not be the first to ensure that this organization, well, my workers are treated poorly. I will not be the first to ensure that this and so these are some of the mindsets that people actually carry along when they are getting to leadership positions, and it is what affects us in the long run. And we keep saying, things are not changing, but that change starts with everyone. It starts with the mindsets that everyone actually carries, because we have to be ready. If you get to that position, what do you plan to do different? Who is a good leader, and who must you be if you find yourself in certain positions where you have to lead, and then make sure that people are following, make sure that people are in safe hands when you come through? Call in and let us hear from you. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Call in and let us hear from you who you think a good leader is. Tell us, and you can even give examples, so that people can actually understand in depth, because this is actually a serious thing. And at some point, people actually give up and say, well, this is going to happen all the time. The leadership is always going to be bad. But what if there was an opportunity for something different to happen? Then how ready or how prepared are we going to be to make sure that it doesn't repeat what has been happening in this workplace, what has been happening in this community, what has been happening in this school? How ready are we to actually change that? And I was talking about how bad leadership actually affects us, and I mentioned productivity. Well, people now become relaxed, and then not want to actually do anything better, or even try to maybe do the things that will lead to development in that community, or wherever the leadership. I just keep using that as an example, but then I say it's everywhere, so we can apply it to everywhere. And then everyone believes, well, it's already a corrupt system, and then why do I have to try? When everyone else is relaxing, why do I have to do anything? Why do I have to try to even make anything go well, when the main person or the leader himself is not doing anything good, or is not even trying to help? So people even reduce even with performance. After all, I'm not even being treated well. Hello. So even with performance, because people believe, well, after all, I am not even treated well, I'm not even getting this. Why should I even try to be good when I will not even get any reward for what I am doing, or I am not even seeing the results? That is something that also matters. When people see results, this is what is happening with this leadership. This is the kind of results that we are expecting. They know that, well, this is bringing good results, so we can still continue. We can continue doing this because it's actually favoring us, and it's actually bringing good results to us. And also talk about poor development when it comes to how bad leadership actually affects us at different sectors, at different levels. Poor development is still there when you talk about bad leadership, because if it's not going all right, like if it's not going well and the leadership is poor, then development is also poor, because the people involved are what leads to that development. They are the ones who will come together, as a people under a good leadership to actually promote that development. But then if the leadership itself is bad, then it becomes very easy for people to relax, for people to not even push forward for any kind of development, and it just remains static. Maybe one person keeps getting richer, and then the rest of the community under that leadership keeps getting poorer, and then no development. It's just stagnant, and it gets to a point where people actually give up, and then nobody wants to try again. You can see that around. You can see that with different people under certain leaderships at different levels, where people come to a point where they have given up and they don't want to do anything again, because what happened when they were trying to do something? They didn't get anything out of it, or they didn't see any result out of it. Because when I keep talking about getting something out of it, some people are not doing something simply because they want to even get something, maybe monetary, out of it. They are doing it because they want to see results. If I am working for something, if I am doing well at the level that I am, if I'm the assistant community leader and I'm working so much, then I want to see results. I want to see it reflect in the community. I want to see those changes. But what happens if the first person in charge of that leadership is not actually doing well? Then your own efforts are going in vain. And that is something that can actually kill the spirits of people. So calling today, if you have just joined us, this is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And I'm your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior. And this morning, we are talking about leadership. So who is a good leader to you? When we talk about good leader, what are those qualities that you would say makes a good leader? Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? Call in and let us hear from you. It could be honesty, it could be courage, it could be patience, decisiveness, even empathy, because someone needs to feel that this is something that can go on with another person, place themselves in someone else's shoes to be able to feel, okay, this is bad or this is something that hurts, thereby not doing it to the other person. Whatever you think it's important, call in and let us hear from you this morning on the Speed Lane. And the number for you to call remains 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Call in and let us hear from you this morning and tell us who you think a good leader is and what are those qualities that you would say actually make someone a good leader. Let us hear from you today on the Speed Lane. And then we talk about integrity, we talk about communication. That is one thing, when it comes to leadership, if the communication is not being passed down well, and people start thinking, well, something is hidden, something is fishy, something is not going right, then it's likely to cause chaos, because everyone start coming up with different narratives of what is actually going on without actually knowing the exact thing that is going on. So that is one thing that we want to avoid, in leadership. And also talk about honesty, because that is something that you find rare when it comes to leadership at different sectors, different areas, different levels today in our society. And it's something that we should do well to actually do away with, because it affects us badly. Hello? Because it affects us badly, and then it affects everyone. And while you might think that, well, it's not affecting me, if it's affecting your neighbors, then there is a high chance of it affecting you tomorrow. So do we wait until when it comes to our own door, or should we not even look out for the other person simply because, well, this is going on, but then it has not affected me yet? And also I'll mention another thing I would say qualify for a good leader. A good leader should be able to solve problem, right? Not just add fuel to maybe problem, but be able to solve it. Like, even if not immediately, you should be making those steps, taking those major steps that one would take. And even transparency, that everyone sees that, okay, this is what you are doing, this is how you're making steps to actually make sure that this problem is solved. Because if it's affecting everyone, even if it has not gotten to your doorstep as a leader, well, you should still care for the needs of everyone, because they put you in that position. And even selflessness, just like Benjamin mentioned earlier, loyal and then good-hearted are some of those things that we must see when it comes to leadership. We must see in people, to actually qualify for good leaders. And well, if you have just joined, this is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And I'm your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and we are talking about leadership. So you can still call in to be part of this conversation before we go and tell us who you think a good leader is. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? You can still call in and share your opinion with us on the speed lane before we go. And we have been talking about how important it is to have good leadership, because of development, even peace, security, fairness in society, and then even how bad leadership actually affects us all. And we talk about productivity, poor performance, poor development, toxic environments where everyone try to, survive for themselves, try to do this for themselves at the expense of even another person, because, well, the leadership is not favoring anyone, and they have to even go into crimes to maybe survive or try to do this for themselves and that. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Mr. Thomas Ako.
All right. Welcome to the show, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you. A leader is a person who cares for his people, work out for the need of his people, make sure development goes on in his community, and then make sure that everything that is good comes to his community. And that is what makes a leader. If let me give this example. If a man in the house, and then you are not caring for your people, you just abandon your family, and then every time you walk out and you get your food and eat and do whatever you want to do outside, and then your people are hungry inside your house. So that is not a good a good person or a good family leader. But if you are a leader and then you care for your people and you know very well that your people are in need of this and you provide for them, you are a good leader. Okay. And that is what we call a leader. All right. That is my opinion about a leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas, for calling in to be part of the show this morning. And this is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And I'm your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and we are talking about leadership today. So who is a good leader? What qualities would you say actually makes a good leader? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? And then we just heard from Mr. Thomas, and he is saying a good leader is someone who cares for his people, and is always pushing for development. And I really like the example he gave about, okay, if you're a leader, maybe even in a family, and then you don't care about what the people under you are eating, and you just go about your own business and feed your own stomach and then come back. How is that a good leader? When people under you are suffering, then that doesn't make you actually worthy of taking that name, okay, as the leader, as the head of this family, as the head of this community, because the people behind you are starving and then you are only getting bigger. How does that make you a good leader? So you can still call in quickly and share your opinion before we go. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That is 0808 427 5464. Who is a good leader to you? Who would you qualify as a good leader? Let us hear those examples, anything that you think that people have to carry along so we don't forget it when we actually get there. Now, one funny thing about life is people keep thinking, well, I would not be in that position. This is what the people in that position are doing. But what if you had the opportunity to become that leader yourself? Then what would you do different? What would you carry along that you feel like, okay, the leader is not carrying? Hello? So what would you then carry along if you feel like it's currently missing? If it's your turn or if it's your opportunity, to actually take up on that position, then what would you carry along? If you listen to stories, from different leaders, when people talk about how can I even find myself in that position when I am a nobody or when I am this, I will never get to that point. Hello?
Good morning, my sister.
Good morning, my brother. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I am Mr. Victor Amase, calling from Plateau State,
Welcome to the show, Mr. Victor Amase. Which side in Plateau State?
Shandam local government area.
All right. How are you people over there at Shandam?
We are peacefully here.
All right. Thank you so much. We're talking about leadership.
Yeah. So you see, we have a lot of problem in this country over the failure of leaders.
Okay.
So first of all, the number one quality of a leader is a leader who supposed to be held accountable to his people. It is we that we used to be accountable to leaders now. When somebody is seeking for an office, he will be going around begging people that they should support. But when the person eventually gains the power, the people will now be serving them instead of serving the people. And you remember, our people whom we are leading supposed to be our capital in leadership. Because if there is no Benue today, there won't be governor for Benue. If there is no Makurdi today, there won't be chairman for Makurdi. So it is people who constitute those places that make leaders. So leaders supposed to be accountable to their people. What the people like and what people do not like, the leaders should be given listening ears before taking decisions. But now it is not like that.
Okay.
That is number one. The second one is a leader supposed not to be shifting blames.
Okay.
If problem comes, handle it as a leader. But when a leader is shifting blames, the hope of the followers are dashed. Because there is no hope for the followers. Their hope is on you as a leader, and you lack what to do in a situation where all your subjects are hoping that you are the one to tell them what to do, or you are the one to take decision, and you are there shifting blames. It means there is no hope for them. So our leaders should learn how to take decision and be accountable to their people. Not when you come to power, you make people your enemies. People were seeking for political offices. Then they will not have security around them. But when they eventually gain the power, people will not be access to them.
All right.
Pursuing people away from them because of you have now gained power so you can do undo. That is not the leadership. The leadership we know, a leader supposed to interact with people. And all these our representatives, most especially House of Reps, senators, state assembly, you hardly see them interacting with their constituents.
Okay.
Of which is very bad. It is when you communicate somebody that you know whether the person has problem or not. And if you don't know somebody's problem, you can't solve it.
All right. All right.
Yeah, that is what our leaders should take note of.
All right. All right.
That is my contribution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor, for calling in to be part of the show this morning. We just heard from him, Mr. Victor, and he spoke about accountability. You know, basically being responsible for your actions and then decisions. Like if you make a promise, you are expected to keep it. And I like how he gave examples, you know, when people actually want to take up some of, you know, maybe leadership roles, they say, okay, promise this, even give this and that. And once they land that role, they start forgetting about people who actually chose them to actually be in that place. So that is something that we should not be forgetting as a people, because if you have that opportunity tomorrow, what are you going to do? Carry that one thing that you know and then take it along. Carry that accountability, you know, that we talk about, and then take it along, because you never know when that opportunity will come to you, right? And also, well, he spoke about shifting blames. You know, you should be able to do things right instead of doing it wrong and then shifting the blames. And also interacting with the people under you and then trying to know, okay, this is what happens and this is what is going on. This is the problem, before you actually come up with a solution. Because how do you come up with a medicine? You don't know what sickness it is. You don't know what problem it is, then how do you come up with a solution? So let us all have this in mind, because it is actually important to make our society only grow better. And at this point where we have come to the end of the show, and I've been with you on the speed lane this morning, my name is Marysyntia Hangeior. And also don't go too far, because coming up next at 10 a.m. is King James 90s Top 10, right here on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And as you go about the rest of your day, don't forget to remember that leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge.
Radio is magic. Radio transmits fun.